Welcome to Kaleidoscope S4IG. Let's talk. September was World Alzheimer's Month, but despite these reminders, how much do we know about it? Globally, 75% of people with dementia are not diagnosed, which is about 41 million people worldwide. The World Health Organization reports that dementia is the seventh leading cause of death among all diseases worldwide. In Sri Lanka, rough estimates are that about 400,000 people are affected. The Lanka Alzheimer's Foundation began in September 1999, and with us today is Professor Shehan Williams, current president, and he's here for a chat on Let's Talk. Now, to those of us who aren't really quite sure, what exactly is Alzheimer's? What causes it?
Alzheimer's is the predominant cause of dementia. Dementia is when a person, usually when they age, develop memory problems and difficulties in being able to think and use their brain as before.
How is Sri Lanka coping with Alzheimer's?
I think as a nation we haven't really considered the extent of the problem. We are the fastest aging South Asian country, and by 2030 every fifth person in this country will be over the age of 60. So many of us will have to face this condition in our selves or even in our families, and we have to be prepared to help and support people who get affected by this condition, because there is no cure at the moment.
What does the Lanka Alzheimer's Foundation do?
So as a foundation, we are the only organization in Sri Lanka working on this area of dementia and Alzheimer's disease exclusively. We want to raise awareness and bring this issue to the forefront, because it's going to be a major issue in the years to come, so that the government as well as a society, we will be ready to support and handle the situation where we have a lot of people with Alzheimer's disease and dementia.
What common myths actually surround Alzheimer's?
So the commonest idea we have is that people become forgetful as they age, and it's a normal part of aging. In reality, that's not the truth. Many of us can live well even beyond 100 years if we don't get affected by this condition called Alzheimer's or other conditions like Parkinson's or strokes and so on, which eventually lead to dementia.
Medically, what strides have been made?
So there are many sort of global clinical trials and being done to find a cure for the condition. There are some drugs which seem to show some hope, but we are still far from finding a cure for this condition, which eventually affects the brain.
What are some of the problems that people with Alzheimer's actually face?
The brain and our cognitive function, that is to think and to act and to remember things, is fundamental to being a human being. And when this gets affected, it's a real challenge for the individual concerned. And sometimes the individual himself or herself doesn't realize the extent of the problem, and it's the others around who will be affected, who may not realize the issue, and the issue leads often to lots of interpersonal conflicts, exploitation of the person, as well as sometimes a serious risk to the life of the person by wandering, getting lost, or doing something without remembering things and getting themselves into serious trouble.
What should people be aware of in sort of identifying the early signs of Alzheimer's?
The signs can be very subtle in the initial phases. Somebody may be misplacing things and accusing somebody of taking their things. They may be sometimes giving money to various people and not realizing that they have been doing this repeatedly. Their judgment may go wrong, and sometimes they may become more irritable and aggressive, and so on and so forth. So we need to identify this, be aware that dementia could come on at any age as we age, usually after the age of 60, and then if necessary make sure that we make or take them to a doctor and make an early diagnosis so that we can plan the best for the person.
Can Alzheimer's be prevented?
Keeping ourselves healthy from a very young age, being physically active, being mentally active, making sure that the other non-communicable diseases which can compromise the blood supply to the brain, like blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol levels are controlled, and we live life which is in a healthy environment as well as overall level of well-being.
We hope you like Kaleidoscope. Tell your friends to subscribe and follow us too. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.